So it's trying to represent that section. So I'm looking at the overall length, width, and height of this object, and that's a good way to kind of build it up. And then if I need to define the center of an object, so I'm just going to go and find this edge, find this part, and I'm building this up in rectangular shapes, and then I can arch these off or curve these a little bit, and it starts to build that section as it goes over. And you know, when you take a look at it, what's the reason that this part has this curvature, this depression in there? Not really sure, but it's part of the design, very similar to the mouse that you saw. It has a couple edges here for the sawtooth here that's going to chop off the tape. The name itself is now in a convex section here for Scotch. And as soon as you put one line down, you can start to analyze to see just how far down the next one's going to be. And builds that up. Now this part I'm able to see on the opposite side. Okay? And I'm going to round off some of these edges. And it does have a square base. It looks like a rectangular shape. So it builds up there. This curved line, just kind of a sweeping line. Again, as a designer, trying to show maybe the flow of this tape off the reel. And it builds it up that way. And it carries it across. It has these little extra lips that you would see. The roll is kind of low. I'm just going to exaggerate a little bit so I can see it. Kind of right down this slot. And building it off. And now I'm just going to add lib a little bit for the tape so it's transparent. Because I want to kind of give it a little bit of life to it. And usually a lot of the sketches nowadays, the way they can build things on the 3D printer, even making the model, is pretty helpful. Scotch, just kind of 6 letters, find the center of the text. So I'm just putting the TCH right in there just to get it started. OC and the capital S right up on the side there. Okay, so for the most part, there's the beginning of it. The second section is just a matter, I could, you know, try to shade some of this. I'm using the side of the pencil just to keep it loose, like I showed last time. This is just a lead pencil cut up, you know, kind of showing that part. Same idea, just blocking this in. And as a quick sketch, it's going, lines are going with the direction of the form. If I change direction of the paper, I can go ahead and build that up as well. But once I get some tone in there, then it makes it much easier to kind of see it. And as you build this up, then it's just a matter of kind of going back in. I'm still using the same pencil, and just find some edges, find some key lines. Again, since it's against a backdrop of just a white cardboard paper, and these curves, it's almost like when you think of an automobile design, we'll talk about that too. The surface has become pretty augmented, and now I can place these sections in there. Whether or not I decide to use a straight edge again, here's just a triangle ruler, doesn't matter what you use. I can draw that and just kind of push the line down at the same time and find those edges. So the triangle kind of helps and goes pretty quick. Same with this side, it's going in that perspective, so I just kind of push the triangle down at the same time, or ruler, whatever one you grab if you want to try it. And just take a look, this has a lip. And again, the photograph kind of helps because it slows everything down to a point where it kind of gives you an idea, at least something that's happening here. So here's the arch for this, has a lip. Here's this one. And again, this depression of the plastic is very similar to that mouse where the wheel goes down into that button. So, and you wouldn't think of it, office products or table supplies. You know, somebody's designing all this stuff, and that's where it comes from. So here, same idea, just the dark value of that based off of those reflections. And this also has a gray tone to it. Once I find that edge, exaggerating my tape because I don't have a full roll of tape in there. And then right here is where the tape is extended. So, and since it's transparent, where the overlap is going to be dark, where it isn't, kind of gives a little bit of a look to it. And again, I can still switch back. This lead I have here is a little heavier 4B lead, so it's going to be a little darker. And I can do the same thing. When I put that straight edge or a piece of paper there, I can emphasize the shading and not worry where it ends. Got to look where it starts, but at the ending part I can just kind of butt it right up against there, so it makes it a little bit easier. There's a straight edge that I can just like in Photoshop, blur that edge and carry that across. So give it a try, see what you do. There's 6 pictures. They should be on your desktop. If not, Sam, I'm not sure if yours is on there, but I'll flip on there for you.
My computer was on.
Okay, this should be on there then. And again, this accent in the foreground of this corner, the darker I make it, the closer it's going to come up. And I've chose a much more skewed image of this than what's there. And then take a look at this edge. It's light against dark, dark against light, and it kind of blends in. And it gives you that part to work with real easily. So here's this edge. It's kind of dark, and then even though it's a light silver surface, lets me build this part up. And this part, this highlight is kind of dark, but it's very soft on either side, so you got to be sensitive to those different looks and see what comes out. Now, cast shadow, I took the picture in here. There's a lot of ceiling lights, so I'm just going to pick a shadow. And even if it's just a little beginning part, starts off the edge there, you can kind of see how it goes. Now, as an industrial designer, you may see, remember some of those pictures where they showed them? They have like 20, 30 sketches on one board as they're coming up with different ideas, different looks to it. Trying to establish the best design, at least the overall piece. If you can imagine the computer in front of you had somebody doing the same thing, trying to get the look of what these computers are going to look like. Desks, tables, chairs, you name it, everything is in the hands of these designers. And it builds that up there. The detail again is going to be the word. So I penciled it out lightly, and I can always heavy it up because I can see the letters. And like I said, this is a detail, but when it's done nicely, it really makes the drawing pop out of there. End up with that. Same with this little serrated. Now, it's a curved surface, but you can also put a straight edge up there. And as you make these lines, just let it butt up against it. Rotate a little bit, unless you got a French curve. And it kind of helps you put that piece up there. And then just start to look for the values, look for the overall segments to it. Like I said, if you have a surface or a sketchbook, if you're drawing in, like I have this book that I'm drawing it in, I can isolate the page real quickly here and put it right on the surface of the table, or if you have a clipboard or something like that I used last time. And now you have a hard-edged surface that is able to take, and now you're losing the textures, losing the textures of the paper that might have been underneath. And lets you build that up a little bit better. You notice this has that line quality right there. Joseph, you drawing, or what are you doing? You're drawing on that. It's on your desktop? Nope. I'll try to get it on there. So see how you do on it. Try to get that